Welcome to the Back Chat Beyond Pain. This podcast is for people who are tired of chasing short-term relief and want something more. Each episode, we break down what it really takes to move better, live stronger, build long-term spinal health, not just feel good for a moment. I'm Dr. Oz from The Back Doctor, and this is where we go beyond pain. Most people think the answer to their body problems is doing more effort, more intensity, more pushing. But in health, intensity rarely beats consistency. And believing it does is one of the biggest reasons burnout, flare up, or quit. In the last episode, we talked about how the body breaks down slowly, not suddenly, and how load builds over time. How breakdown is the result of accumulation, not one bad moment. Today, we're talking about the opposite side of that equation. If breakdown happens slowly, then improvement does too. And that means consistency matters far more than intensity. This is the trap so many motivated people fall into. They feel bad, so they go hard. Hard workouts, hard stretches, hard lifestyle changes. Everything at once. And sometimes they even feel better for a short while. But intensity without consistency is like sprinting a marathon. You might move fast at the start, but you won't finish well. So let me show you guys one of the biggest things that I can tell you. Now, for those of you listening and can't actually see what I'm drawing, that's fine. You can picture it. For those of you are watching or you are not driving, let's say, for example, you can write this down. So you want to draw like a graph, a y-axis and an x-axis. So I'm going to actually pop it like this. Actually, I'll move the camera down a bit. Awesome. So you got a y-axis and an x-axis. So what are we effectively doing? On the top here, you're going to be having your intensity. And over here, you're going to have your time at the bottom. There are two lines of thought. The first one is you want to train as hard as you can. So you want to train as soon as you start, go as high as you can. But what happens? You're not consistent. You've pushed too hard. You're not going to follow through. So you have a crash out or a burnout. And sometimes you end up worse than what you started. But you go through these cycles like this. And you go up and down, and you go up and down, and you don't really get anywhere. Then there's a second option, which is what I prefer. Well, there are some people that love a roller coaster. This is the key to getting long-term outcomes and making sure that your body heals at its optimal potential. And that is consistent change. That is going consistently at a slower pace, not as high intensity, but consistent. And this is what you're going to see. This is the compounding effect. This is the big game changer. This is what happens when you take things at a slower pace or intensity, but you're consistent. Now, when I say slower pace, I don't mean you're super slow. What I mean is that it can vary from person to person. But what matters is you follow a consistent schedule. Because I know that if you train every single day for 45 minutes, you are going to get great changes. But I know if you train once a week for 5 hours in one day, you're not going to get as consistent changes because it's not about the intensity. It's about the consistency of training your body. And here's the big thing. The research shows that consistency is what your body loves. Routine is what your body loves. That is why it's important to do that. So let me break it down. The body doesn't really adapt to big one-off stresses. It adapts to what it experiences repeatedly. Small inputs, repeated often over time. This is how you build strength. This is how stability improves. And this is how the nervous system calms down. Consistency teaches the body what's safe. Intensity often triggers protection. So why intensity feels so appealing? Because intensity feels productive. It feels decisive. It feels like action. And in most areas of life, working harder gives faster results. But biology doesn't reward urgency. It rewards repetition, slow repetition. And that mismatch is where the frustration sets in. And if you're frustrated, it's okay because you are now learning the right way to fix this. Because one of the most overlooked pieces here is your nervous system. Suddenly, intensity can put the body into protection mode. Muscles tighten, breathing changes, movement becomes guarded. You feel stiffer, you feel sorer. But the consistency does the exact opposite. It creates predictability, safety, confidence in movement, and confident systems adapt better than stressed ones. This is why consistency, I can't even say the word, sits at the heart of Beyond Pain Roadmap. Relief calms things down. Understanding creates clarity. Correction happens through repetition. And resilience is built through consistency. Longevity comes from sustained habits. You don't build long-term health by doing something extreme once. You build it by doing the right things regularly. So if you're listening right now, it's worth asking yourself, have I been chasing intensity or building consistency? Do I start strong and then fade when things feel better? Or do I keep showing up even when there's no urgency around it? The answer to that question often explains a lot. So if consistency is the key, what does that actually look like in real life? How do you stay consistent without burning out? And that's exactly where we're heading next. If you remember one thing from today, remember this. Intensity feels impressive. Consistency creates change. And long-term health is built quietly, not dramatically. And if today's episode resonated, take a moment to let it sink in. Feeling better is a step, but lasting health is built over time. Thank you for listening to the Back Chat Beyond Pain. Until next time, keep moving forward.